Polestar has come on thick and fast since it launched in the UK back in 2018, and you've probably seen many of its cars on the UK's roads today. Well, it is expanding things further by introducing a flagship model. This is the new Polestar 5, and it aims to bring high levels of performance, but as we've seen with other Polestar models, a real focus on out-there design that will ensure that it stands out against all of the rivals it's going up against. Now, we've been granted an early look at the Polestar 5 ahead of it going on sale later this year and ahead of delivery starting in 2026. So what I'm going to do is show you around this car, check out some of its cool features, and see whether or not you should be considering it when it does finally go on sale. Now, obviously, throughout all Polestar vehicles, there's a steady line which kind of draws them all together. And in the 5, you've got many of those aspects that you might be familiar with, but there are some cool features as well. Obviously, we've got a really long wheelbase, which helps promote an excellent amount of space in the rear. And we've got a low-slung roofline, which has no rear screen at all, much like the 4. And that helps to boost interior headroom. Now, on all 4 corners, we've got very large alloy wheels, and we've got high-performance brakes from Brembo, which are the same as you'd find in the 3, but made ever so slightly lighter. Interestingly, all the suspension units up front are housed within the area of the wheel to help with the turning circle and to create the lower effect that you get on the front of the car. I think this is actually one of the best angles of the Polestar 5. You've got this full width light bar at the rear and these indents here, which I think kind of narrow the car and make it look even longer. Now, of course, you've got the lack of rear screen entirely, but you do have the rear facing camera, which beams its image straight through to the rear mirror where you'd expect to find the rear mirror. Naturally, with a kind of low-slung GT-esque car, you want a decent amount of boot space. And in fact, the Polestar 5 offers 365 litres of boot space. And you can, in fact, increase that by folding down the rear seats. It's slightly less than you will get from something like the Porsche Taycan, but it's still a very usable area. And I like this deep section down here, which means you can keep things secure when you're on the move. So Polestar has a typically Scandinavian strip-back feel to most of its cars, and that is carried through into the Polestar 5. You've got these dedicated seats at either side of the rear bench, but there is a seating area in the middle for those who need it. Now, interestingly, Polestar has integrated what they call a foot garage in the way the battery has been designed in the Polestar 5, and essentially that means there's a slight indent which gives you additional space for your feet, and actually plenty of legroom here and a decent level of headroom too, despite the fact that roofline is actually quite heavily raked. Now, interestingly, you can fold down the central armrest. That creates a slightly different experience inside the Polestar 5 because now you have some dedicated controls for the heating and ventilation as well as the heated and cooled seats. And this gives it a slightly more executive experience than what you get with the 3 abreast seating configuration. Overall, it's got that kind of stripped back feel, but thanks to a good level of materials, Nappa leather, but combined with recycled elements, it's all feeling very well judged and nicely put together too. Up front in the Polestar 5 is where all of the action is happening, but it'll be familiar to anyone who's spent some time in the recent 3 and 4 cars. We've got a 14.5 central infotainment system, and that's running Android Automotive, which means you get all of your Google systems built in from the get-go. Things like maps are there without having to download anything or to connect your phone. As with other Polestar vehicles, it's really easy to navigate, and what I like, as I found with cars like the 2 and 3, there's a shortcut bar at the bottom for your heating and ventilation system, so you don't have to fiddle about with anything else, go through any menus. You can always adjust the temperature when you're on the move. But there are some elements which lift the 5 above the other cars that it is in the group with Polestar. Features such as these full Recaro bucket seats, which are dedicated for the Polestar 5 and are trimmed really nicely in leather. And then you've got this full width bar. You might notice this orange bar which runs around the full length of the vehicle, and that's tied together, and this helps to create this sense of a cocoon element inside the 5, keeping it all kind of low slung, but also brightening up ever so slightly. There's also a compact gauge ahead of you, but again, kind of Scandinavian, kind of stripped back, which I really like. And overall, it ties together nicely. It might be nice to see a couple more flamboyant elements inside a car such as this, such as a flagship car like the 5. So maybe something a little bit more exciting, but it's all very well put together, and all of the materials that they've used feel of a high quality, similar to how it carries through to the rear of the car. The Polestar 5 also has a dedicated animal mode, which means you can activate this button via the central screen and it'll keep the car at level temperature, suitable for keeping pets in and comfortable at a cool temperature when it's a hot day. Of course, the recommendation is that you never really leave dogs in the car for too long, but if you had to, you could lock the doors and make sure that the interior of the car is kept as cool as possible.
The Polestar 5 will be available in both dual motor and performance specifications. Now, the dual motor gets 737 brake horsepower, and that means 0 to 62 in just 3.9 seconds and a top speed of 155 miles an hour. Despite this, it should still be able to do 416 miles from a single charge. Step up to the performance version and power increases to an incredible 871 brake horsepower, and that means 0 to 62 in just 3.2 seconds, although it shares the same top speed as the standard version. You also get a range of 351 miles, so there's quite a significant drop in the terms of mileage between trips to the plug between the dual motor and the performance version. Both, however, use a 106 kilowatt hour battery, which is frankly massive for the segment, and it can accept a charge of up to 350 kilowatts, which means that you can do a 10 to 80% charge in around 22 minutes for both models. Stick it on a conventional 11 kilowatt charger and you're going to see a 0 to 100% charge in around 11 hours. So we'd expect it to be about 14 to 15 hours if you were going to connect either of these cars to a standard 7 kilowatt domestic home charger.
Prices for the Polestar 5 are going to start at around £89,500, which certainly puts it at the upper end of the electric car spectrum, but I think it's got the tools to help justify that price. It's got loads of performance, it's got a really cool interior, and I do think it looks absolutely sensational. Now, the proof, of course, is going to be in how this car drives, but up until that point, and up until we get behind the wheel of the Polestar 5, I think it's really going to shape up as an exciting EV that is worth checking out when it does arrive in the UK later next year. Now, thank you for watching this video. If you have enjoyed it, leave us a like below and let us know in the comment section what you think of the Polestar 5. Do you like the looks of it, or would you rather something like a Porsche Taycan instead? And of course, since you're here, please subscribe to Car Test Lab, where you'll be able to check out other videos just like this one.